Hey folks, my apologies to you if I haven't answered your emails, your texts, your questions. I'm just going to shoot out a quick fire round of Q&A here just to try and get through a few of these. The first one comes from Alicia. Thanks again, Alicia, for all your questions. How do you feel about Candida and fruit? Should I reduce my fruit if I have Candida? Long-term, fruit is not the problem. Long-term, the short answer to that is no, don't reduce your fruit, because you want to train your body to get used to eating fruit. And long-term, the problem is fat. If you want to read more about that, look up Dr. Neil Bernard and reversing diabetes. So reversing diabetes, the uptake of sugar and Candida and all of that is far more important for those guys because it's a life and death situation. But yes, fruit has sugar, and yes, Candida feeds on sugar, but the problem is a bit deeper than that. Another question from Alicia. Sorry for all the questions. No worries at all, Alicia, no worries. What did you do for infection other than garlic cloves at night? So yeah, garlic, a really strong antibacterial, antifungal, antioxidant, very strong at protecting the body. It's like a guard, it's like a watchman, especially in the night when you're trying to sleep itch-free. Other than that, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything against infection. So I guess maybe you're asking about when your skin is literally broken and, it could rub up against things that could infect it. I trusted my immune system, and was I always right in that? Maybe I had infections, I don't know. But doing nothing I still think was the best approach, because what you want is your daily activities to be enough. You shouldn't have to do much more than that. You shouldn't have to do any more than that. What you're doing every day should be enough to guard you against infection. And I felt like I was doing enough, even though I had open wounds at times. And yeah, my wounds were oozing. They had yellow stuff coming out and all of that. But I didn't do anything other than just showering when I needed to, keeping clean. When things were really bad, I can remember putting plasters on, putting breathable plasters on, but really didn't take nothing chemical, nothing like that, nothing topical, just physical things. Next question is from Yosue Soto. Sorry for pronunciation. Hey, I'm new to your channel. I have watched all your videos. You watched all of it, wow. And for the first time, I have hope for healing my eczema on my face. Please keep sharing. I have a question. I stopped using products on my face. My face has started to heal since I stopped. However, now it's starting to kind of scab and ooze with some sort of fluid that gets hard when it dries. You haven't talked about this and in any videos. What is it? And should I exfoliate my face or not? Funnily enough, I just touched on that in the last question. I had oozing. I did have oozing. When that kind of yellow stuff comes out, or white stuff, I just saw that as intensified toxic load coming out through the skin. And it came out in greater amounts when I was eating things like dairy and wheat back early in the day, before I went all plant-based and everything. I noticed that's one of the keys. One of the things that was happening that showed me that it was the right thing to do to cut those things out. I was detoxing more oozing stuff during that time. Should you exfoliate? It gets hard. Should you exfoliate? Water only. I think keep clean. In the shower, just rub the areas gently and get that stuff off and away from the body. And that's all part of your just hygiene as and when you need to. Hygiene as and when. As you know, I don't recommend showers as a form of habit. I recommend them as and when you need to. Sniff test, ooze test, etc. Next question, Magdalena Schultz. I was wondering if you have any tips for bloating and whether you think that chronic bloating, I often wake up bloated and remain bloated through the day, is linked to eczema. I've heard about leaky gut, digestion issues as factors that contribute to eczema, but so far I've not found a solution. Short answer is yes. If you've got issues digesting food or absorbing food, then chances are you're going to get bloating. And as we know, if you've got eczema, you've got issues with digesting and absorbing food. So let me just get this question right. Is it linked to... Yes, it is linked to eczema. I've heard about leaky gut, digestion issues and factors contribute. So far, not found a solution. I'm going to assume here that you're already on the whole foods, low-fat, plant-based lifestyle. Overt fats are not in your diet. Oil is not in your diet. And you're eating your food in order of digestion. With those things in place, other than that, to look at is food combining. So don't eat melons with other things. Don't eat blueberries with other things. Those are just ones that I found personally through my own experiences. What else can you be looking at? It might be early doors for you. It might be early doors for you. You've not really given a time frame here, but if it's quite early on in the process, I was getting a load of bloating and some pretty antisocial sort of gut behavior, and it passed over time, pun intended. It passed over time. It didn't continue. It was just part of the transitional process of going to the whole foods plant-based way of eating and increasing fruit, increasing the amount of fruit sugar in your system and the volume of food too, just eating the volume of food to get the same number of calories from low-fat plant-based foods is higher. So it's a bit of an adjustment process on the body. I wouldn't worry about it too much, I think, is the bottom line. Unless you're in desperate pain, you've really got to change something up. But I wouldn't really get too worried about it. Just stick with the program, be hydrated, get enough sleep, and keep moving the body. All of the above, really. Hey Greg, you mentioned bowel movements. What do you think is a healthy amount per day? 2 to 3 bowel movements per day is healthy. Enjoy plant power. Did you skip Cambodia? No, I didn't skip Cambodia. I didn't skip Cambodia. Videos coming on the other channel about Cambodia. Maksudi Adam asks, where are you actually based? Have you had a chance to visit Jordan or the Dead Sea? Good to see you uploading more frequently. Did you lose weight? And what would be your tips on gaining weight while you on a raw or almost raw lifestyle? Some good questions in there. Where am I based? I'm based wherever you want me to be based. Anywhere. Here, there and everywhere. Have you had a chance to visit Jordan and the Dead Sea? Yes, I visited Jordan and the Dead Sea and I loved both of those. I love Jordan as a country. Some of the friendliest people I've ever met in the world in Jordan. And the Dead Sea, I went there before I was into health and all of that stuff. But I did have a natural mud bath or whatever you call it. Like in the Dead Sea. I just went and found like a muddy area of the Dead Sea and covered myself in that stuff. Took about 2 weeks to get off. Was it worth it? Probably. Your other questions, did you lose weight? Yes, I lost a huge amount of weight. This is probably worth a video all by itself, but weight loss when you first go to whole foods plant-based is very, very common, especially when you're healing from disease. And one of the reasons why I think that is because there's a lot of die-off that's happening. Your body's kicking out a whole load of the dead cells, a whole load of cells that are not really usable. They're not healthy. They're the sick ones, and they needed to go. And that's what was going on in my head. I've not scientifically proved that. That's just simply, again, what my own logic was telling me based on how I felt, based on the calorie intake and how much weight I was actually losing. I was under eating a little bit. You can't just get onto this lifestyle long term and eat the same volumes of food just because of how sparse whole plant-based foods are. Remember, 4 calories per gram for carbohydrate and 9 calories per gram for fat. So when you get fats and all that, animal products and stuff out of your life, your calorie intake's probably gone down, and yeah, you're going to lose weight. What would be your tips on gaining weight while you on a almost raw lifestyle? Almost raw and gaining weight. The first thing I'd say is if you're trying to heal your eczema, let that be your priority. I mean, if that is your priority, then weight loss, it's just part and parcel of what we're dealing with here. I lost about maybe 5 or 6 kilos, something like that. And total, I weigh about 67, 68 kilos now. So that was significant. But over time, your body learns to absorb from whole plant-based foods. It really is just, it's a non-issue in the long term. It's a non-issue in the long term. Like, look at gorillas, elephants and all of that. huge animals that only eat plants, as well as vegan bodybuilders, human bodybuilders only eating plants. Long term, it's not an issue. And long term, you probably don't need to be as raw as you are right now if, healing is your focus. Monique Rushing. I wonder why some people can eat tons of junk food and not have breakouts. Different people get different diseases. So if you're deep storing your toxins, the chances are you're working up to having something a bit more exciting, like cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and you're not detoxing on a daily basis. You're deep storing that stuff. No one's getting away with it. Nobody is getting away with it. Never think that, they're so lucky they're getting away with eating, junk food diet. They're not. They're just not. It's going to come back to bite them at some point. Another one here from Monique. I did answer this one already, but I'm going to put it in anyway. When going through eczema, is it better to eat more veggies than fruit? Yeah, my answer was not necessarily. Fruits tend to be higher in calories, which can be a good thing. You've asked then about histamines. Like, it seems like a lot of fruits have too many histamines. Look, when this comes up, my typical answer is we've got to eat something. We've got to fuel our body, provide fiber, and out of everything we can eat, it would seem that fruits are the least of all the evils. So we've got to eat something. We can't fast forever. We've got to eat something. We've got to be sustainable on this lifestyle. And histamine, in my experience, seems to be a small price to pay. So it's better off eating histamine than it is eating animal protein, for example. You've left a comment there as well. I'm allergic to almost everything. Help. I went through that phase too, and there came a point where I was only able to eat like bananas or just really, really basic stuff without feeling itchy, scratchy. And that passed, of course. This is why allergy tests don't mean much, because they're only a snapshot in time of where you're at. But over time, your gut will heal, and you'll be able to eat a wider variety of things. And that's why I say, in the moment, even though you're going to react a little bit to these foods, still eat them, because you've got to eat something. So find the least of all the evils, which is mainly fruit, and go with that. Under the fast, just a couple there under the fasting video. Do you think some fasting helps with the healing in the end, or just consistent healthy food? I don't really feel that the fast that I did added up to my overall healing process in the end, because 99% of the time I wasn't fasting. I was eating regular food, and I believe that's what my body responded to. The user, last question here. I don't eat much, maybe once or twice a day. Please tell me that's not a bad thing. So that's in response again to the things I was talking about with fasting. I believe in fiber, and I believe in regular throughput through the body. And I think nothing's perfect, because look, you can be eating food and be saying, but I want to give my body a rest. And you can be fasting and you can be saying, but I want to cleanse my body using fiber. Like, nothing's perfect. There's no such thing as the perfect program. All we can do is put as many balls in the air. We can put in as many pieces of this jigsaw as possible. And I believe that consistent food eating, fruit-based, raw, highly raw, is the way to compromise across all points. Does that make sense? So you get as many of those pieces in place as possible. When you've got a regular supply of food coming through, you can go ride your bike. You've got energy to do stuff, and your body's got energy to heal. Remember, vitality. Don't forget, vitality is the amount of energy that your body has left over once all of its daily tasks are taken care of. So you're going to need food to do that. And again, I don't want to cast shade on fasting, because it has its time and its place. But for those of us with eczema, don't necessarily think that is the time or the place. Just my opinion. Will I fast again in the future? Maybe I will do more experimentation in that area. But I do believe in the concept of metabolic damage as well. So, if long-term leanness and fitness is also one of your goals, then I don't necessarily think fasting is going to get you there. Look at athletes, look at how they achieve their fitness. It's not through eating less. In fact, it's doing more and eating more to compensate. Thanks again, team, for all of your support and all of your questions. Keep your questions coming. Apologies for answering in this format, but hopefully that's effective enough. Let's get this message out far and wide. Comments and questions, as always, down below. Help me spread this message. This is the truth about skin health, and we're blessed to know the truth. This isn't my truth. This is the truth. This isn't my message. This isn't my pie. This is everybody's pie, and we just want to make the pie bigger and better, and we just want this truth to be available to everybody who suffers from this condition.